Are you for real? You're drinking now? Boy. There isn't even water in that one. What are you drinking now? Alright. No, wait. Oh, wait. Hello, everyone. It's your Route 1 encounter, Yubari Eradicate. And we're doing another discussion video. This one's not about off-model. This is just about Zeraora? Zeraora? The new Pokemon. Well, kind of new. We knew about him from right after Sun and Moon came out. People found him in the data files. And here he is. Zeraora. I actually really like this design. The main reason being that if you take this little tuft right here, right? If you take the little blue parts, right? And we'll say like this is the top, right? And you take the lightning bolt whiskers, right? If you take that was awful. If you take these parts, if you take them and you just rearrange them a little bit, they make something that looks a little bit like a new Mega Cast form. Anyway, that's my review of Zeraora. Thank you guys for watching. Please check out my YouTube. No, but for real. I want to talk about Zeraora. Zeraora. I'm reading his name as let me see here. As Z-E-R-A, as Zera, and then Aura, like punch, like the punching sound effect in anime. Not just JoJo, but like Ken in Street Fighter does it too, the Aura. So I'm reading it as Zeraora, but it could be Zeraora, it could be Zeraora. Who knows? I don't know how people have been saying it because I haven't paid attention to this at all prior to Pokemon officially announcing it on the 8th. March 8th? Are we in March? April 8th. God. But there's been a lot of chatter about this Pokemon recently, so I figured I would talk about it a little bit. Right off the bat, I want to get something out of the way that like kind of bothers me. People use the term furry bait for this a lot, and people use the term furry bait for any kind of anthropomorphic dog or cat creature, any kind of mammalian bipedal thing. I really don't like the term furry bait, and like for the record, I'm not a furry, and I have no stake in any kind of war when it comes to whether or not people are furries. But the term furry bait is just so obnoxiously dismissive of like an entire genre of design, where like you can't think Lucario is cool and you can't think that Lopunny is cool unless you're a furry who wants to fuck them. And I think that's like super annoying, and like in general, furry hate is like really boring to me, because like at the end of the day, it's a group of people who likes a thing, and like to put energy into hating them is like just like it's fucking boring at this point. Like, oh, you're so special, you don't like furries, you don't follow furries on Twitter, oh, you're so unique, everyone wins, everyone's a winner. But yeah, so I just like as far as I'm concerned, it's a bipedal tiger punching lightning thing, right? I don't care about whatever social implications it has. It's a fucking Pokemon, all right? And you can call it furry bait if you want, but you're being an idiot. You're being an asshole. You look like an asshole. If you don't feel like one, you should, because it's a fucking Pokemon. So let's move on to its actual design and what actually matters when it comes to this thing. So generally, I do like a lot about this Pokemon. There's a reason I have every other Mythic Pokemon pulled up, and we'll get to that. But I do generally, I'm like okay with the design. It's not my favorite, but I like this kind of this tri-shape that we have going on here. You can see that kind of shape on a lot of Pokemon, like Scizor has that. I had a bunch of them in mind earlier. Scizor has that, but like yeah, it's this like triangle shape. I'll pull up pictures. Suicune kind of has that going on. I do like that triangle head shape. I think that's a cool, or not triangle, but you know, like the three-pronged like head base, and then the ears and the tufts like break it up nicely. So I think it's a cool head shape. I like the gigantic forearms actually. This is something a really weird pull, but I actually really like Jugo from Naruto. I like his big stupid rocket arms, and this kind of reminds me of that. I like when the character does kind of a dashing, like I imagine like a dashing, like kind of spinning punch, kind of like Shenwu does in King of Fighters 13, if anybody knows. Um, but I think it looks really cool when the forearm is like gigantic and the hand is gigantic. It makes it look really impactful, and I like that a lot. Um, and like I think one of the biggest things I don't really care for is his pseudo tail. It comes out like right here, like the between his shoulders, kind of, and like I know it's like supposed to be a scarf, which is cool. It's supposed to imitate a tail, which I don't know why it's not just a tail, but in my brain I can't stop seeing it as like a rat tail hairstyle, and like I don't know, it doesn't really sit right with me, but and I don't know why he's got these Charlie Brown ass fucking pants on. Look at these Charlie Brown fucking pants. Anyway, but I do like he has a little vest thing going on here, a little like I don't know how to describe that, but it's like it's a little fighter vest, you know? It comes up and around, and it's a thing. It's a design element on characters like, who am I thinking of? I feel like there's a Soul Calibur character with that or something, but anyway. I mean, there's not a whole lot to his design. He is an anthropomorphic tiger cat kind of electrical creature. But that's kind of my problem, is that he's a mythic Pokemon. For anybody who hasn't seen it, Zeraora is the new mythical Pokemon for Pokemon Sun and Moon, following up on Marshadow, who was the previous mythic. And my problem, and kind of the point of this whole thing, is that I don't really see him, like, he doesn't really fit the mythic Pokemon role. His shini's pretty cool. I like his shiny a lot. That's kind of just here to show. This is his in-game pose. He's kind of hunched over and feral looking. The way he's described, he sounds very Wolverine-like, where he rushes at you quickly and like cuts you with his claws. So, I mean, he's a cool Pokemon. He's fine. I got no problems with him. But it's just his status as a mythical Pokemon, and I guess this is more of a video talking about mythical Pokemon at the end of the day. But to get into it, kind of like what defines a mythical Pokemon, to me at least. And I had this idea earlier, but I kind of realized that I have problems with a lot of the mythical Pokemon that I didn't realize I had. But starting off with the first one, Mew, there's kind of this general tone through a lot of these of otherworldly nature, right? They're kind of not of this earth, which is what makes them kind of cool and unique and interesting. Example that I'll go to directly right off the bat is Darkrai. I mentioned to somebody earlier, when you look at Darkrai, you can tell that he's not a regular Pokemon. He's not like all the other Pokemon, but he doesn't look like Kyogre and Groudon. He doesn't look like Zekrom and Reshiram. He doesn't look legendary, but he doesn't look normal. And he's somewhere between, and that's what makes him really interesting. And you can tell that he's like for real right off the bat. Victini, I don't know. I mean, that's not true of all of these, because like Shaman could just be another grass Pokemon, honestly. And I think that we only recognize Mew as being special because we all know that Mew is special. But I mean, it's not that far off from Jigglypuff or Wigglytuff or any other like Gen 1 pink puffy Pokemon, so if we didn't know its like, you know, its story and that it was related to Mewtwo and that it was such a important Pokemon, we might not have thought anything of it unless they told us. But then you look at Arceus and you're like, yeah, Arceus, oh, there's something about that guy. But anyway, so Mew is the genetic base of all life in the Pokemon universe, basically. It's said to contain the genetic makeup of all Pokemon species in its DNA. And so it kind of represents like the origin of life, right? The origin of organic life. So it has a lot of significance in that regard. And I'm not going to go over the body types of all these Pokemon because that's a different video. That's later. Oh, jeez. But so we have the origin of genetic life, of organic life. We have a time traveler who's a time traveler, right? It is not the, like, it's not the creator or master of time, because that's Dialga, but it is a time traveling, like, nature healing pixie creature that is clearly special. You have Jirachi, who is a wish-granting star child who sleeps for 1,000 years and has a third eye on its stomach that opens and grants a wish or whatever. You have Deoxys, who we couldn't remember the other day. Me and a friend couldn't remember if it was legendary or mythic, but it is mythic. But it makes sense to me because it's a virus from off in space somewhere that, you know, got hit with a laser beam and became a Pokemon, and a really powerful one at that. And I guess I could go into like what Bulbapedia defines as a mythic Pokemon. Bulbapedia defines a mythical Pokemon as a group of Pokemon seen so rarely in the Pokemon world that some question their very existence. And for us, they're event-exclusive Pokemon that, with a few exceptions, cannot be obtained during normal gameplay. The two groups, legendary and mythical Pokemon, are always presented separately because they're defined, right? And yeah, they're Pokemon that are seen so rarely that they are not, nobody's sure if they really exist. And so that kind of adds to the otherworldly nature of them, is if they're even real or not, right? And so, whereas legendaries are more earthly, and one of my problems with Zekrom and Reshiram, besides the fact that Reshiram's fucking ugly, and that's another video, but one of my problems with those two Pokemon is that they're based on like ideals and hope or something. I didn't actually like play 5th gen when it came out, and I played through Black and White 2, and I slogged through that game because I really don't like it. And I got like 3 hours into White, and I just said, I can't fucking do this. And I gave it to my friend and had him beat it and trade me the legendaries, because I don't like those games. But that's another video. But my problem with those two Pokemon, part of my issue is that they're like, yeah, they're willpower and fucking something else. They're like human concepts, which bother me because like Kyogre and Groudon are the land and the sea. Rayquaza is like the ozone layer, the sky, the atmosphere, right? And you have like Dialga and Palkia, which are time and space, and you have Giratina, which represents like dark matter and the void of space. And then you have this big feather dick, like weird fox thing that's like oaths or like whatever. And then you have life and death, which are worldly concepts. And then you have the sun and the moon, like the envoys of the sun and the moon, and those are celestial bodies. But I mean, they're all physically tangible. Whereas, like, the origin of life, and wishes, and stars, the cosmos, and time travel, and God itself, you know, they're otherworldly, and a straight up alien, like a straight alien. You know, they're not these big natural forces. They're like, you know, they're otherworldly. Moving on to Manaphy and Phione. So these Phione, iPhone. So Manaphy and iPhone. Manaphy is kind of like the spirit of the sea, is basically how I see them. Manaphy represents it comes from the cool waters underneath the ocean, the cool water currents, and iPhone represents like the warm water currents. And together they kind of form like, you know, the sea current. They make up a mythic duo that represents parent and child. And you can kind of see that reflected in the fact that Manaphy cannot be... Like, you can breed Manaphy with Ditto to make iPhone, but iPhone can't become Manaphy, because it can't grow up to be its parent, right? I'm pulling it out of my ass, but it's a parent-child relationship. It's the warm water and cold water of the ocean forming currents. It's kind of like the embodiment of life in the sea, whereas Kyogre would represent like the sea itself and the force of nature, like the destructive force of nature of the sea. This is sea life. Similarly, Shaman breathes life into dead land. It's kind of the spirit of nature in a different way than Celebi, because Celebi can do the same kind of thing, but Shaman is specifically flowers and like fields and, you know, stuff like that. Like I mentioned earlier, Shaman could just as easily be any other grass type Pokemon. It's only because we know its significance. But one of the other things I didn't like about Black and White is I really don't care for Shaman Sky. I don't know why he has Gary Oak hair, but he has Gary Oak's hair. and he's got like just a straight up anime face and like these weird, I don't know if they're supposed to be wings. I mean, there's some kind of ears, but like as a hedgehog, your ears would just be like that. Why aren't... And he gets like, he's like a weird little horse thing, and he gets a scarf that like attached to his neck. What if you pulled on those? And he has like a little, I don't know, I'd never liked this thing. I always thought it was kind of weird and creepy looking. And like it's mostly the anime face and the Gary Oak hair, where I'm like, why do you have like human features all of a sudden? Why can you talk? Why do you have these long ass legs? And he's just bizarre to me, and I really didn't like him and don't really like him. So I kind of forget that he exists normally. So earlier when I was thinking about this, I was like, yeah, and Shaman's like the spirit of land or whatever. And I was like, but then there's Shaman Skyform, and I have to talk about that. But I don't know what to talk about. It can fly. It's flowers in the wind. Who knows? Who gives a shit? I put him on here because I felt obligated to, but we're not paying attention to him. Also in 5th gen, did I miss any 4th gen? Oh, I did miss a bunch of 4th gen. Darkrai. Darkrai is, he's like, you know, the embodiment of nightmares and dreams and whatever. I originally thought that Cresselia was also a mythic, but apparently it is not. Which was weird to me, because I always kind of, you know, people view them as a pair, Cresselia and Darkrai, because it's kind of like the moon, it's the moon and kind of like dreamscape versus the night and nightmares. They're both kind of moon related because they're on moon-shaped islands, but I don't know, it's weird. Cresselia is not a mythical Pokemon, apparently, at least as far as Bulbapedia is concerned, because I did all of my research very swiftly before doing this, so if anything's wrong, I'm sure you'll let me know. But yeah, so Darkrai, and like I mentioned earlier, he's one of the best examples of, he's not like the big legendaries, but he's not like the pseudo legendaries, and he's clearly not a regular Pokemon. He's very unique, and that's really cool for him. Moving on back to 5th gen, we have to 5th gen, because this isn't this is 5th gen, isn't it? No, that's from Platinum. I'm so dumb. Anyway, Meloetta. I was thinking about it earlier, and I like Meloetta. I really do. But I don't know if Meloetta is a very good design. And the reason I say this is because it falls into the category for me where it looks like a fan design a little bit too much. Mostly in this thing, and its little like its headset thingy, which is like, yeah, in this base design, it looks great. It's, if you need a Pokemon based off music, this is a really great design for a Pokemon based off music. It's got the music note hair, looks like music bars. You could claim that back in the ancient days, it sang a song, and that's what taught people music, and they modeled their music structure off of its hair. Whatever. This thing, there's plenty of Pokemon that have metal parts. You could say it's just some kind of weird metal charm, like the crystal on its head, whatever. Not a big deal. My problem, why, when it turns into Purette form, does this becomes like a hair charm? Why? It's a microphone. It's supposed to be like a singer's microphone. Why is it up there? What is it doing up there? What is it? Oh, it's a treble thing. But this isn't music. Well, this is a dancer. I guess it's music, but I don't know. It's weird. I guess, yeah, it does work as a treble thing. So maybe never mind. Maybe never mind, but I don't know. Meloetta is weird, and it doesn't, and that, so this is the beginning of like, doesn't necessarily fit into mythical Pokemon. I guess as the origin of music and dance, sure. I guess that works. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. As the origin of music and dance, those are still like, you know, not otherworldly concepts, but fine. That's fine. Meloetta is kind of the beginning of the end for this. Then we move on to Keldeo, and Keldeo is, you know, he fights for friendship. Ah, my friends. The flowers are my friends. Whatever. Keldeo, people always were like, he's one of those like accused of being furry bait kind of characters where it's like, oh, he's just a My Little Pony. Oh, where's his Pokeball cutie mark? Which again, you're so creative. You're such a cool, smart guy. But Keldeo is a unicorn, and so he fits into that, like, you know, the myth of a unicorn, whatever. Rapidash is a unicorn, so he's our second unicorn. But you know, fair enough. if you're gonna go for a mythical Pokemon, you have one of the more mythical, like, fairy tale creatures. That's cool. Personality wise, obviously we all have issues with Keldeo. Most of us have issues with Keldeo. Some of us really like Keldeo. He's really good in the game, like stat and moveset wise. But as much as I personally don't care for Keldeo a whole lot, and as much as he isn't like a concept like these guys are, he does kind of fit the bill. Victini is like the spirit of victory. If you have him on your team, you're supposed to be guaranteed victory no matter what. He's got legs and a torso that look like a dog if you draw ears on it and little eyes. If you take that, it looks like a little dog. It looks like a dog. It's cute. But Victini is another one of those weird ones where he's the concept of victory along with, like, again, I can't remember for the life of me what fucking Zekrom and Reshiram are. I can't remember what they are. There's no way for me to... I couldn't possibly figure... Reshiram, the vast white Pokemon, and Zekrom, the deep black Pokemon, represent the yin and yang type of idea. They're the Taoism, the Tao trio, along with Kyurem. And Kyurem is, the boundary Pokemon. Yeah. Also, Gen 5, we have Genesect. And Genesect is kind of cool. He's another one that I didn't know was a mythic for a long time, mythical. I didn't know until Pokemon had their anniversary thing with the mythical Pokemon event. But he is an ancient fossil revived by Team Plasma. And then they strapped a bunch of techno shit on him, and they turned him into a future robot bug, trying to create the ultimate Pokemon. Because I guess Mewtwo's not ultimate enough. I guess nobody learned anything from making Mewtwo, but they tried to make Genesect. And there was something about an army, but I didn't watch the anime or the movie, so I don't know none of that shit. But all I know is that he is... I guess he could represent, like, nature being overtaken by technology. He is, like, super ancient fossilized Pokemon. So, I mean, that's not the origin of life, the origin of the universe, stars and wishes. But, I mean, he fits the concept of being so rare or old, I guess, that no one's sure if it's real. Something that people have heard stories of. But if Team Plasma revived him recently, I don't know why people would only have heard stories of him, or how they would have. You'd think they would have kept that shit a secret. But you plug other things into his cannon and he shoots different types. He's also on that list of, like, doesn't really fit the theme necessarily. He's cool, but I don't know. But then we have Diancie. Diancie is a diamond Pokemon.
It's such a good feeling to know you're alive, that I'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. I will.
Anyway, that's my review, guys. Please check out my Twitter and Facebook, and don't have Facebook, but check it. So Diancie is a mutation of Carbink, and it's a mythical because I guess it fits into that rare category, being that there's only one to my knowledge, whereas some of these there was only one, but now there's multiple. Like, well, who was it? There's a couple of these that, like, you think there's only one, like Mewtwo. Apparently there's like two Mewtwo. Anyway, Diancie is special in that it's the only mythical Pokemon that can Mega Evolve, which is cool. But otherwise, it's just a diamond formation. Diancie uses the Heart Diamond, which it creates using power from Xerneas to protect its friends from Yveltal. is what Bulbapedia is telling me, but I ain't watched that movie neither. Diancee's honestly one of the ones that I don't know a whole lot about, and like a lot of things in Gen 6, it kind of was underdeveloped, where like we know so much about Mew and like, you know, like I feel like we know a lot about a lot of these Pokemon, but the farther down you go, it kind of falls apart a little bit. But Diancee, diamonds are rare, expensive, fancy, but it doesn't necessarily, you know, using Xerneas' power to defend from Yveltal doesn't really, you know, it's not, you know, Hoopa Unbound, Hoopa and Hoopa Unbound. Hoopa represents portals. I mean, it doesn't represent, it employs portals in its shit, you know. It's a Jinn. Jinns are a cool Middle Eastern spirit thing. So that's, you know, rare, hard to find, kind of otherworldly, magical creature, right? Kind of like Keldeo, as far as magical myth creature. And if you use the prison bottle, turns into Hoopa Unbound, which has like crazy, stupid, cool mastery over portals and stuff. Uses them for fighting. And I didn't watch that movie neither, because it wasn't one of the first 4. But it, yeah. Volcanion. Volcanion's one of the, this is the one that really doesn't really work for me as a mythical Pokemon. This falls into Zeraora territory, where it's so grounded in reality. It's so attached to the earth, the way that Kyogre and Groudon are, that it feels like it should just be a legendary. It's also hella dumb looking. It's got these stupid Uggs on. It's got this big ol', like, an actual egg body. Like, it's not just like Blastoise where it's egg-shaped. Or Chansey where it's egg-shaped. Hello is Chansey. Anyway. Game Theory? But it's got this big stupid egg body. It's got the big stupid Uggs on. And then it's big tube splits and it shoots steam out. I think that it's a really cool concept. It's a Pokemon that is its own, like, energy factory where it you know, I guess creates water, even though that's not how, but it makes water and steams it and creates, like, infinite energy, basically. And I guess, wasn't the lore that they used that to power Kalos, or was that a rumor? I don't know. But, there's a legend that it blew up the mountain that created the area where Kalos, like, the whole region was settled and formed, which is cool. But it's, being a steam engine is so, like, not, like, there's nothing mythical about it, really. It doesn't really, like, because diamonds are rare, Jinns are magic, ancient fossil technology taking over the land, unicorn, the origin of song and dance, the origin of the universe, origin of life, star child wishes, time travel, alien, spirit of the sea, spirit of the land, dreams, nightmares, the spirit of victory, sure, why not? And then this thing is just a big old fucking, he's just like a steam train. He's like a steam train. Steam train. So then we have Magearna. Magearna was created by a human thousands of years ago, I believe. And its true body is the soul heart inside of it. And this body is just kind of like a vessel, I guess. And I remember when they revealed the thing, they were like, oh, not a whole lot's known about this mysterious new mythical Pokemon. But I don't know if they ever elaborated on that at all. I mean, we can see Pokeball designs in its design, so maybe it was found by somebody before and they designed the Pokeball off of it. Maybe the guy who created it made the Pokeball, you don't know, could have been anything. But, as like a machination created by man, you know, and this is the problem, is the farther we get from you, the farther into the generations we get from you, the more my explanation for these things is like, you know, robots, man-made, although, you know, I mean, robots, man-made, you know, I don't know, and that's kind of the issue. And then we get into Marshadow, And I think Marshadow had his own movie, or is getting his own movie, or is in the show or something. But he's a shadow warrior. He's a wandering spirit punch man. That's cool. I don't know. But then we get, so then we come back to this. And so, and you see how this is, like, degraded over time. It's a sliding scale of, like, coherence with the original concept. We have, again, I will run through them. We have the origin of organic life. We have time travel. We have wishes, miracles, and the cosmos. Stars, right? We have the creation of the universe. We have an alien from somewhere out in space. Think about how fucking crazy that is. That he's an alien from just somewhere. We don't even know where he's from. That's crazy. We have the spirit of the sea, the parent and child relationship, sea life, the origin of, or not the origin, but the representation of life in the sea. And parent and child, the sea's the parent of life on the earth. You know, that kind of thing. We have embodiment, or a spirit of the land. We have nightmares and dreams. Kind of the dream consciousness, I guess. And then, well, as soon as we hit 5th gen, it all starts to kind of fall apart, where we have song and dance. A little too grounded in like, human nature, as opposed to all of the ones before it. Other than, I guess, wishes. But, you know what I mean. Like, I like Meloetta, but it starts to veer a little bit away from the otherworldly nature, that even if that's not how they're described specifically, if they're just described as rare and people aren't sure if they're real or not, even so, these all still fit like a type, like an archetype, right? And then this starts to get a little too real world. This is a mythical creature, that's fine. Victory is kind of vague in man concept, right? I guess anything can win, even in nature, but victory is still kind of weird. Genesect he's fine as a prehistoric creature that was retaken by technology. Maybe it's a thing about cars. He kind of looks like a car. Maybe that's the deal, is that he's supposed to represent cars and, like, being fueled by prehistoric creatures. He's a car. Fuck it. Diancie is a diamond. Hoopa is a mythical creature. Volcanion is a train, a steam train, driven by a Jewish guy and an Australian. Magirna is a robot made by some jerk-off somewhere who made a weird, creepy doll. Gurman, is that you? Did you make Magirna? Gurman, was one not enough, Gurman? Why'd you bring the doll to the fucking party if you're trying to get with Maria? And then you have, like, a shadow warrior who's like a ghost warrior spirit, I think. Let me just, there's no way I could figure this out. So Marshadow travels through people's shadows and can imitate the movements of their shadows to learn fighting moves and become stronger. And so he's kind of a wandering warrior type, I guess, like a master fighter, which is cool. It's not a mythical creature. It's not a mythical creature. It's not a concept, but it's cool. He's literally a legend that you're not sure if he exists. It's like what Batosai the Manslayer, Roni Kenshin. He was like somebody who they weren't sure what happened to him, where he went, if he was still alive, if he was dead, if he was ever real in the first place. But I guess that's kind of what this is. He's an anime trope, but fine. He's Kenshin. Or not Kenshin, he's Kenshiro also, because he has the Fist of the North Star thing. But anyway. And then we go from all that, from the origin of life to some guy that walks around and learns fighting techniques from your shadows. We go through all of those, and we come back to a fuzzy yellow thing that punches things. Now, I forgot to mention something about its design I don't like, is this little thumb, that should be over here. Why is that over there? And it doesn't matter that it's mirrored, it would still be on the wrong side. Why isn't that right here, where his thumb would be? Drives me crazy. But, so basically, to explain what we know about Zeraora, he uses magnetism to, He uses magnetism to kind of slingshot himself to move quickly, to levitate, and zip through the air really fast, so it makes him speedier so that he can do his, his Wolverine Decapre thing really well. And he cannot, unlike every other electric type in the series, he doesn't have an organ that produces electricity. He has to absorb electricity and then discharge it, like, manually, right? He has to charge and discharge by himself without creating the energy, which is kind of cool. But what does he represent? What myth, what mysterious origin, what concepts does he embody? Magnets? Is he the physical manifestation of we don't understand how magnets work? You ever ask a physics professor how magnetic fields factor in anything? They'll get pissed at you and throw books at you and shit. Because they don't fucking know. Nobody fucking knows how magnets really work. That shit's magic. But there's other magnet Pokemon. There's one called Magneton. I don't know if you heard of it, but there's one called Magneton who uses magnets. And there's like Alolan Golem is a magnet Pokemon. So like it's not magnets. He's not like he doesn't even function like other electric types. He doesn't like create his own electricity. He absorbs it and discharges it by himself. I mean, he's a tiger. Tigers are kind of rare, I guess. But that's my problem, is I've been thinking about this all day. And maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm really dumb and couldn't come up with it all day. But I'm just sitting here wondering, like, what exactly is he supposed to be? Like, what's his purpose? You know what I mean? Why did I do that? Because I don't know. Where are you? I don't know. And that's my problem. My problem's not with his design. I think he looks fine. I think his Z move is really cool. If anybody's seen his Z move is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. So I guess that's kind of, I mean, I guess that's my spiel, is that Zeraora is first. Okay, bullet point number 1: if you don't like furries, then don't follow furries. Don't be a dumb bitch about it. Don't be an asshole, because nobody thinks it's funny. Nobody thinks you're cool. The Pokemon's design is fine. It's not a bad Pokemon. It's not an ugly Pokemon. It's just like Lucario. It's just like Lopunny. It's just like all the other anthropomorphic animals that you in your mind think that everyone else is sexualizing, even though they're probably not, and that's just you probably projecting something deep inside yourself. But at the same time, I wanted to mention with the furry thing earlier that as obnoxious as anti-furry people are, people who are like, oh, you just don't know, oh, one day you're gonna find out, you're just in denial that you're not a furry. Like, not everyone's a furry, dog. Not everyone's in the same shit you are. So, like, trying to push that shit, that's why nobody likes Genova's Witnesses. Nobody likes Genova's Witnesses because they show up at your door, they light your house on fire. But yeah, don't push your shit whether you love or hate things no matter what. But to take the furriness out of the equation for a moment, there's other problems with this Pokemon. The fact that it doesn't fit into the design that's kind of been declining over the years anyway. The design concept seemed to have become Pokemon that is a legendary but is like stronger than a legendary. I really don't get Volcanion. Why is Volcanion here? What does he do? What is it? He makes the least sense of all of them. Like, I'm talking about Zeraora right now, but he makes the least sense of any of them. He's really driving me crazy now. The more I think about him, it's really I can't deal with that. That's fucking me up. But for these ones, where's my brush? For these guys right here, these guys are the floor plan. They all fit the theme, right? These guys, except for him and him, are kind of exceptions. The rest of these kind of don't work as well. And I don't think that him or Volcanion really works at all. I would have rather if they gave a little baby version of him and just made him a Lucario. Give him something like this. Maybe a little cheek pouches. Maybe a fat little body, you know, with little stumpy legs. Maybe called it, like, I don't know, give it black on top of the ears. Something like this. I don't know. It's a rough design, but something along these lines maybe for the Pokemon. And then he evolves into this, you know. I don't know. Zeraora will probably come up again in a later discussion about what I mentioned before, the Pokemon body type. I'm going to explain what I mean by that in the next video, which should be Mewtwo. I was going to do Charizard, Pikachu, and Mewtwo all in one video, but Mewtwo, I ended up with like 30 pictures of Mewtwo on the screen, and I was like, you know what, maybe Mewtwo, maybe he needs his own video. But I think I'm going to roll it into the discussion about what the Pokemon body type, what I view as the Pokemon body type is. I'll probably roll that all into one discussion. That'll probably be next. I also planned on doing this part during a Blastoise video, but since it's been a little while, it's been like 2 weeks since Blastoise came out, and I haven't gotten around to recording anything, but I got my Ethernet set up, so pretty soon I'll be able to stream and record matches for him. But I wanted to say thank you guys so much for the response on the off-model Blastoise discussion. That video reached 10,000 views in a week. I think it's sitting nice at 13,000 views right now, which is by far my most viewed video. It finally beat out my Mobius Final Fantasy Lightning Summoning video, which is nice because if you look at my popular uploads, it's the Blastoise discussion video, and then mobile game, and then like old Pokken mobile game, and then the gameplay discussion, which I was surprised how few people gave a fuck about that, which everything in that video is wrong now anyway, so whatever, it doesn't matter. But and then the Blastoise combo video is sitting around 600 whatever, but it's cool. I really appreciate the views and the response, the comments on the Blastoise video. I gained 71 subscribers off that video, and so to all my new subscribers, hello. We reached 100 that like 2 days after that video went up. I think we're around 140 something now, so things are starting to move along a little bit finally. So, but I appreciate you guys. And I'm gonna do more of this, and Blastoise gameplay coming soon. And the rats are drinking again. There they go. But thank you guys for watching, and I don't know how to end videos, so I'm going to say Alola. Oh.